How's it going, guys? So this league is the richest that I've ever been and the longest I've ever played. I'm now a month into the league. I'm planning on swapping to Magic Find and just do some big explosions, maybe more crafting down the line, possibly throwing away one mirror just so I can have the mirror power charges or frenzy charges. We'll see. But I just wanted to slowly talk about what I've been doing to get to the point of having a lot of currency. So I started for the first time with like OP build on League Start. Usually I do my thing, usually I do Bane. It does well enough to, for example, clear tier 16s, do Delve up to like 200 depth. There's no problem with that skill for at all. But usually I would invest like 3 to 4 divines into the League Starter, and then I would start saving up for my actual build that I would be playing that league, which is most of the time Cast on Crit Forbidden Right. This time I started playing Corrupting Fever, you know, and I leveled up to Act 8, then I went to sleep, woke up the next day, finished leveling, dropped a divine very luckily in Act, I think 8, and I managed to buy 2 cold iron points and a 6 link. So my journey got that much better, even though by the time I hit maps, it was almost 24 hours after the league start. But after that, I just did delving. You guys know I like delving. There's 2 differences between delve that I do. I either do 200 depth and I go into the dark areas and I blow up the walls, which gives me a lot of overall resonators of all sizes, because yes, resonators that are single are usually the one that you sell the easiest. But for example, the chaotic resonators are found behind the broken walls quite often, and you get like half a divine. So I did that like every single league. After that, I started crafting Fizz cluster jewels, right? So for example, I encountered that by playing Corrupting Fever. I needed a large cluster jewel, and I needed 3 passive points, right? The jewels costed around 3.5 divines. So I looked it up. And if you craft on low item level and you hit the Jagged Fossil, you can possibly hit 2 versions that are selling for 3 divines and higher, right? So I think on average, it's like 1 in 30 to get one of them. Sometimes I was lucky. In 20, I got, you know, 2 clusters. Sometimes I was unlucky and I used 60 Jagged Fossils and I got nothing. So that made me think about, you know, crafting more, right? So I tried to craft as many of them as possible, and I tried to take over the market. So if people posted those bases that should cost around a divine for 40C, I immediately offered them a divine. And I knew usually, you know, when you post something on a trade for like low price, people usually, you know, let's say something is worth 40 divines, you post it for divine and people spam you, oh, I'll give you 2, I'll give you 3. Even though it's worth 40. So I just give them the exact price that it would be reasonable for me to buy and for them to sell. So I took over the market with the physical cluster jewels, and every single time I was online, I bought every single one that was posted. Then it's starting to get a little bit stale, and the Jagged Fossils got expensive. So I was like, okay, I'll try to reroll my fossils. So what I did is I was buying red juice, and because I had, you know, too much fossils, I was re-rolling them, right? And I was going for Jagged Fossils, but all of a sudden, boom, I got 10 perfect fossils, right? And if you do it by 10, you can possibly hit one of these as well, the juicy ones. So I hit hollow fossils, which were at the time like 80C a pop. So that was 800C right there. And I was like, god damn, right? So at that time, I literally, after I used all of them, I was buying them in bulk. They were like 1C, so I bought like 100, 200 fossils for divine. Then I was buying red juice, and I transferred all of these into the good ones, or Jagged Fossils that I was using for crafting. And I was doing that for a few days. At the time, I think I had already a mirror because it was very profitable, right? if I made like 10 jewels, I would post the worst one and the best one. For example, the worst one would go for 3 divines and the best one would go for 5, right? For example, if it has chaos res or all attributes, like very high rolls, like very nice ones. And the other ones were just waiting, right? I did not post them, I just kept them like in line. So as soon as I sold one, for example, let's pretend this is a cluster jewel, right? I would sell this one. Okay, now I put one post then this one, right? So this is what I've been doing. Then I got thinking, I got into other stuff. Unfortunately, the red juice started to get very expensive. It got below like 6k per divine. So even at that point, it was still profitable to do this, but it was not so much, it was not fun, right? So I made my mirror. I was waiting for some nice item to get posted by Sushi, but there was nothing, right? So at that point, I decided to maybe look into magic finding, right? Because magic finding was the hot topic, and I looked at items, and I realized that the magic find helmets were super overpriced. So what I've done is I just looked up a guide how to craft them, right? Fairly easy. Let's pretend they're 84. I bought rarity fractured, let's say 21 and higher on prefix. And then I was pleasantly surprised because you can craft them multiple ways. You can do chaos spam until you hit rarity. Then you could craft intelligence. And after that you could do more likely, right? I don't know if they have it here. Other, more likely, and hit it, and you have a chance to hit int and all and the rarity, but you know, hitting tier 1 is low, plus you need very high base with item level for this to happen. It is cheaper than essences, but it just took too much time, right? So what I've done is I took my int essences and I was spamming until I hit rarity, right? Fairly easy. So for example, this one is perfect, right? It doesn't have any intelligence, any suffix, and it has only int and rarity. So then I would just craft rarity. From Slain and Unique Monsters. This is tier 1, so I would go for 44, 45, right? Then, only thing I would do is use the red one. Red ones like this, and I would either use I like to use annals, to be honest, annal exalts. So for example, T5 life, I wouldn't go for T5, I go T2 higher because we have T1 rarity, right? These suffixes alone, I would, for example, know that this is helmet between 15 to 20 divines, right? So I would go like this. So this is hybrid. Hybrid is very nice because I can hit only tier 2, tier 3, and it's high enough life, right? So for example, I would go for annul here and exalt, hopefully we'll hit some nice life. Oh, tier 9. Evasion rating is nice as well if it's flat, so I wouldn't mind, you know, and I would keep doing it like this until I hit some decent life. I'm not gonna waste time here, but that would cost me, let's say at the time the annals and exalts were like 16 per div, so you can imagine I could, I don't mind using tier 3. Beautiful. Boom, exalt, evasion rating, nice. Now this one is only tier 3. Let's pretend it's tier 2, or let's say it's tier 3. This is 12 divine helmet. To make it more presentable, I would just use these until I would hit decrease the mana cost of skills. Oh, I just hit it. There you go. And then I would use these ones to have some reservation efficiency. Because if someone buys the helmet, even though it has poopy Exarch, right? I'm not gonna spend 20 divines possibly trying to make them as best as possible because it has tier 3, right? And as soon as I would hit, let's say, reservation efficiency, boom, done. This is 14 divine helmet easily, right? So then I thought, okay, So I just spent, let's say, 20 clicks with my essences, and I spent like 2 divines worth of annals and exiles, right? And I spent 10C for the base. The return was a little over 10 div, right? So I was like, okay, so let's just do more. And what I've done for like 2 days is I bought every single helmet that was dex based, and it had decent fracture on prefix between 20 and higher, right? So we have a look again on the items. So I would buy this one because this is the best one. They were always out of stock, and the base for these would cost around 2 to 3 divines for like shitty fracture on prefix. But if I buy Silken Hood, I'll pay 10C, right? So then I realized when it comes to the market, especially if something is popular, what matters is quantity, not quality. So what I mean by that is, for example, everyone wants to have blinked out rarity, right? So let's have a look again. Rarity. Item found, T1, fractured on prefix, right? So let's pretend I have 20 of these helmets, right? They're all ideally, I think, 74 item level plus, because that's the item level I need to hit nice a T1 rarity on suffix. Because life doesn't matter what tier it is. Only thing that matters, it's the evasion, right? You cannot hit nice evasion when it's like item level 75. But I would keep going, right? This is tier 3. It has additional suffix. So I would use the Eldritch currency to possibly handle the accuracy. Now, boom. Usually, people go for tier 3, but I'll be like, okay, I'm fine with this. Outcraft rarity, right? Boom. And it's a couple of exalts. Life, evasion rating. Oops, oh yeah, I don't have the Eldritch currency, sorry. So I would use the Eldritch to hit something nice. Because this one is tier 3, I'm not gonna try, right? I'm not gonna go for tier 1 life or something like that. If I hit tier 1 life, good. If not, okay, tier 7, that's pretty bad. I would, tier 5, perfectly acceptable. Boom, right? So at this point, I have tier 5 life, int, tier 3 rarity, tier 1 rarity. I would do the same exact thing. I would make it presentable, do the reservation efficiency and mana, and I would sell it for 5 divines, right? So with the sheer quantity of helmets that I had, I would have, for example, 10 of them that would look like this, 10 of them with tier 2 rarity, and 10 of them with tier 1 rarity, right? Only thing that would make, for example, difference between 15 divine helmet and 20 divine helmet, it would be the life roll, right? So for example, the best one I crafted was T1 life, T1 hybrid, and that would go for 25 divines easily. You don't have to care. The reason why I did not make the Icarus the best possible, because sometimes people do play with Aura Stacker and they don't care about these, but for people who care about those, it makes them more presentable, right? So boom, another 3 divines. How long did it take? 2 minutes? We made in, I don't know, 7 to 8 minutes of me showing you how to craft these items. 1 helmet for 14 and 1 helmet for 4. Now, the prices might have changed after those 2 weeks. It might be more, it might be less, but you just get the general gist. And after that, I did a couple of more builds, and I swapped into the boss farmer. Some of you know, I was very, very lucky. I did drop another 450 divine jewel. It was yesterday, and then, a couple of 90 divines ones. Usually people comment on my YouTube channel that they're very unlucky, but it is what it is. The bosses are just RNG. So even if I do not count the currency that I have here, let's say this from Uber bosses, I still have perfectly viable build. I still have a bunch of divines in projects that I've been crafting. I know this is not mirror tier because it has tier 2 ES based off Reddit's opinion. But, I was trying to craft the best items possible, and I feel like I succeeded. So yeah, I'm sorry for this being too long, but I just wanted to give you my like thought process, right? Because thing is, during the time I was doing all of these crafts, I did not even think about making a YouTube video because I was shooting myself in the foot, right? Like if I can make a bunch of these helmets in the morning, right, and start selling them and just play the game, and then they would sell while I'm playing the game, why would I make a video about it for other people to learn about it, right? So right now we're gonna do Magic Finder. Most likely I think I'll try the Void Arrow because it looks fun, and I'm not sure if it's going to be viable now that the all damage can poison this thing will be gone from the game. So I want to try it while it's still here. I'm not gonna go for some tornado shot thing because I'm too cool for that. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.